I thought it was just coincidence until I started connecting the dots. After a visit from one so-called well-wisher, my car broke down, even though it hadn't failed me for years. Then my cousin just popped in for tea, even though we hadn't seen each other for more than a year. And that same evening, I had a huge argument with my wife over nonsense. So much so that she filed for divorce. However, after my long, tearful apologies, she changed her mind and withdrew it. They bring not support but judgment into your home. And after they leave, you always doubt yourself, don't you? Carl Jung called such people carriers of the collective unconscious. They don't think, but simply repeat patterns accepted in society. For example, my aunt, yes, her again, once came to our house and in one evening criticized my choice of profession, declared that I got married too late, called my wife unattractive, and said that my friend found himself a more beautiful woman. She stated that our apartment was decorated incorrectly and said many other things, after which I just wanted to run into the woods and not come back. After she left, I doubted every decision I made for 3 days, except for my wife, of course. Otherwise, I wouldn't be a man. So how to protect yourself from such people? Let's break it down step by step. First, the psychological mirror method. When they start telling you how to live, just ask them, interesting point of view, do you think so? Believe me, in 90% of cases, the person will falter because these attitudes are not theirs but imposed by society, and they themselves don't understand anything about them. They have simply never thought about it. Second, master the technique of thank you but no. The phrase, thank you for your concern, but I'm comfortable this way, works like a magic shield. It's soft but impenetrable. You don't engage in conflict, but clearly define the boundaries. Most importantly, remember that your home is a reflection of your personality, not someone else's idea of perfection. Carl Jung rightly said, the greatest injustice is to deprive a person of the right to their own self. Here's a life hack. The next time a judge starts giving you advice, put on a clown nose. It's funny, but it immediately becomes clear that you are not dealing with a bearer of truth, but simply a person playing a role. Your home, your rules, your life, your choices, and no one has the right to make you doubt it and tell you how to live. The third type that should stay outside are those who consider your home public territory. Those who treat your home as an extension of themselves behave as if they have entered a dormitory. Without asking, they rummage in the refrigerator as if it were their own, sprawl on the sofa in street clothes, bringing in all the dust and dirt of the city, and give, in their opinion, useful advice about your repairs as if it were their property. Jung called this blurring of personal boundaries when a person doesn't feel where they end and the other begins. In the countries of the former USSR, there is a real epidemic stemming from childhood with phrases like, why are you shutting yourself off? Do you have secrets from your relatives? It happened that my childhood friend asked to live with me for a couple of days. A week later, his girlfriend was already living in my apartment. She appeared without warning, by the way, and their dog settled in. There were traces on the sofa and puddles in the hallway. When I cautiously hinted that it was time for them to leave, he resentfully said to me, I thought we were friends. Are you begrudging something for a friend? He moved out, and we haven't met or talked since. Remember, real friends, let alone relatives, respect your rules, and the rest simply take advantage of your kindness. Carl Jung emphasized that only by realizing our boundaries do we gain true freedom. These people often sincerely don't understand that they are doing something wrong because they were raised that way themselves, but that doesn't mean you should tolerate it. Here's a simple truth. If someone broke into their home and started bossing them around, they would be the first to be indignant. But for some reason, in someone else's space, this logic stops working. The next time such a guest reaches for your refrigerator, imagine doing the same in their home. Most likely, they will immediately remember personal space. Your boundaries are your rules and only you set them. The fourth type of people you shouldn't let into your home are those who consider your home a free shop. Those who come with empty hands but leave with full ones. Sound familiar? A person who never brings even a small token of attention, neither sweets nor fruit, nor a bottle of simple wine, will definitely take something of yours, food, things, even borrowed money that you will never see again. One day, a whiny guest spent 3 hours with me, and the next day I woke up with a fever and then found out that I had pneumonia. I had many other instances that seemed to slow down my life and prevented me from living peacefully, developing and doing anything in life. As for money in the family, it was as if someone had put a curse on us. As soon as things started to improve, someone would inevitably drop in just to talk, and problems would start immediately. It's not about greed. Simple rules of hospitality assume that a person brings at least a symbolic sign of attention, a box of chocolates, fruit, bread. But these guests come with empty hands and leave with your products. Oh, can I take this? With things. Oh, you're not using this? With money, lend me until payday, which you will never see again. In Russia and the CIS countries, this is especially noticeable. After all, relatives are sacred to us, but for some reason, some perceive this as an indulgence for impudence. I had a telling case. A distant relative came without calling, ate half the contents of my refrigerator, and then began to notice what a cool jacket I had. Do you often use it? I say no. As a result, he left with my new jacket and a drill, having borrowed another $300 from me. I asked, when will you return it? And he said, we're relatives. I'll give it back later. Why are you so worried? And 2 years have already passed, and he hasn't returned anything. This is a classic example of violated boundaries. Such people sincerely don't understand that they are doing something wrong. You're, of course, interested in how to protect yourself from them, but you don't need to let them get close to you so that you don't have to defend yourself later. In general, learn to say no in different phrases. To request to borrow things, say, sorry, I'm using this. To request for money, I can't right now, without explanation. To attempts to take food, sharply say, this is my supply for the week, don't touch it. Simply, your home is not a charity fund. And if a person doesn't understand simple rules of mutual respect, then they have no place in your home. Carl Jung said, the more you try to please others, the further you get away from yourself. And it's true. So what to do? Learn to say no, even to relatives. It's not selfishness, but self-preservation. Don't make excuses. Your no doesn't require explanation. Your home, your rules. Distance yourself from those who pull you down, even if it's family. Blood ties are not a reason to tolerate their quirks. To be honest, I used to feel guilty. It seemed to me that I was a bad son, friend, brother, until I realized a simple thing. If a person doesn't respect your threshold, they don't respect you. Your home should be a place of strength, not a thoroughfare for other people's problems. Your personal sanctuary where you can be yourself without masks, without pretense, without having to justify your right to comfort. And now about the most insidious ones. You might not even suspect them. They don't complain, they don't criticize, they don't ask for money, they just sit quietly in your home. These are the quiet ones, those who silently suck your energy. You can easily recognize them by the dead pauses in the conversation that you have to fill, by the empty look when you share something important, by the feeling that you are talking to a wall. Once, many years ago, I had an acquaintance who simply came to sit. It seemed harmless, right? But after some visits, I felt like after an 8-hour workday because all the communication constantly rested only on me. Any question received a monosyllabic answer. But when she left, some kind of heavy atmosphere remained in the house, and my mood fell. And the next day, she didn't even ask why I didn't call. She just disappeared. In the 8 months that she came to visit me, nothing ever happened between us, by the way. Recently, I met her in the city. We could hardly talk. And I learned that she never got married to this day, by the way. Carl Jung called this passive vampirism. Such people don't give energy into contact, but they suck it out in silence. So what to do? Look here, remember. But that's a separate story about money. In one of the following videos, I'll tell you how I deal with it and its constant shortage. Carl Jung called this synchronicity, when external events mirror our internal state. If money flows away, relationships crumble, and health deteriorates after a visit, it's not a curse. It's your psyche screaming, stop letting those unwelcome people into your world. If a guest hasn't asked you a single question 3 times in the evening, it's a warning sign. If after a visit you feel emptiness, not joy, then think about it. Try to stop pulling the conversation. Real friends will pick up the conversation. Your peace of mind is not a free resource. Even the silent presence of some people can cost you too much. And the most precious thing in our life is time. You can never get it back. Have you had such guests? Please write about it. Perhaps your story will help someone to be brave and say no in time. If this video was useful to you, then I am very glad. Help others see it. Show it. Until new meetings and new videos on the topic of self-analysis, psychology of relationships, and philosophy. All the wisdom of life, as always, for you. Unwilling people sow chaos around them, greedy people subconsciously drain your resources, and toxic people infect you with their disorder. If after a visit from someone, even a relative, your day or life falls apart, it's not a coincidence, it's a sign. Are you still sure you want to let such people into your home? Personally, I've long been sure that I don't want to, under any circumstances. Let's talk about the types of people you should never invite to your home or even let in, even if they are your relatives. I've learned from my own experience that some people can poison the very atmosphere of your home. So let's break down who should be kept away from your doorstep. The first type of people you shouldn't let into your home are professional victims. These are people who don't know how to rejoice. They come to complain about work, life, the authorities, and neighbors. They are not looking for solutions. It's important for them to be pitied. Sound familiar? They simply come not for communication, but to pour a stream of negativity onto you. You've noticed that they never look for solutions. The only thing that matters is that you immerse yourself in their suffering along with them. And if you are a sensitive person, after their visit, you feel like a squeezed lemon, as if someone has sucked all the strength out of you. Here's my personal example. My aunt is a champion at complaining. Her standard visit is 3 hours of incessant complaints about her life and how bad everything is. I sincerely tried to help, gave advice, but then realized a terrible thing. She doesn't need a solution to her problems. She wants me to also immerse myself in this swamp of despair. Jung explained that such people often unconsciously manipulate those around them through compassion. They drag you into their shadow, the part of the psyche where all fears and complexes live. Most dangerous of all, you don't even notice how you begin to see the world through their eyes. After such visits, I often noticed a pattern. Either health deteriorates or problems start in the family. Coincidence? I don't think so. It's the law of energy. Negativity attracts negativity. The second type that has no place in your home are professional fixers or critics. They enter your home from the threshold but only see what is wrong. They don't come to rejoice in your life but to tell you how to live. Oh, why do you have such dark wallpaper? It weighs on my mind. Or, oh, you're not married yet? You need to do it urgently. Or, you still haven't bought a car? It's time at your age. Or their favorite, how can you let your child go for a walk alone? It's dangerous.